The first thing Amor learned about captivity was this. Silence could be louder than screams. The mansion never truly slept. Somewhere in the distance, boots echoed across marble floors. Doors opened. Doors closed. Voices whispered behind walls she would never enter. And through it all, she remained in her room, a ghost in a golden cage. Days passed. Or maybe it was weeks. Time didn't matter anymore. Her world had shrunk to 4 walls, 1 bed, and a door that only opened when someone else decided it should. Aurelio didn't come every day. And when he did, it was never the same. Sometimes he spoke to her like she was a problem he hadn't yet decided how to solve. Sometimes he didn't speak at all. He would simply stand there, watching her like a storm deciding where to strike. The clan noticed. They always noticed. Cheetah noticed most of all. Jealousy is a dangerous thing in a world ruled by violence. It doesn't scream. It plans. Cheetah began to poison the air around Amor. A whisper here. A suggestion there. She's a spy. She's manipulating him. She's going to get us all killed. And in a place like this, words were sharper than knives. Amor felt the change before she saw it. The stairs became colder. The guards became rougher. Food arrived later. Water arrived warm. She was being isolated. Again. One night, Aurelio entered her room without warning. She was sitting on the floor, her back against the bed, her knees pulled to her chest. He stopped in the doorway. For a moment, he didn't look like a king. He looked like a man who didn't understand the mess he'd created. "You should hate me," he said quietly. Amor didn't answer. Everyone does. Eventually. He stepped inside and closed the door behind him. "I didn't bring you here to be broken by my people," he continued. "If you break, you become useless." That was the closest thing to protection she would ever get from him. The next morning, the guards changed. The food came on time. The whispers faded. Cheetah's eyes burned every time Amor passed her in the hall. But peace in the dark bulls was never real. It was just the calm before someone bled. The outside world hadn't forgotten Aurelio Giovanni. Neither had his enemies. The black venom moved quietly. Smarter than most. Deadlier than all. Their leader, Demetrius, didn't want territory. He wanted Aurelio. And he knew exactly how to draw him out. They didn't attack the compound. They didn't ambush the guards. They went after something softer. A convoy was hit on the highway. Explosions lit up the night like artificial suns. 2 of Aurelio's men died before they even understood what was happening. The message was clear. "We can reach you anywhere." The clan went into lockdown. Weapons were loaded. Routes were changed. Orders were shouted through halls that had once been silent. And through it all, Amor watched from the shadows. She wasn't supposed to know any of this. But information leaks when people think you're too weak to matter. One of the younger guards told her by accident. "Black venom," he whispered nervously. "They're hunting the boss." That night, Aurelio didn't come to her room. He didn't come the next night either. When he finally did, there was blood on his knuckles and something darker in his eyes. "They used you," he said without greeting. Amor frowned. "I don't understand." "They think I care," he continued. "They think you're my weakness." She felt her chest tighten. "Are they wrong?" she asked. For the first time since she'd met him, Aurelio didn't answer. The attack came 3 nights later. Gunfire shattered the compound's false sense of safety. Alarms screamed. Men ran. Orders were lost in chaos. Amor was pulled from her room by a guard she didn't recognize. "Move," he shouted. They didn't make it far. A shadow stepped out of the smoke. The guard dropped before he could raise his weapon. Amor froze. The man in front of her smiled. "Demetrius sends his regards." She was taken. Not dragged. Not beaten. Carried. Like a prize. Aurelio found the empty room minutes later. The bed was overturned. The door was broken. The air still smelled like fear. For the first time in years, the boss of the Dark Bulls lost control. He tore his compound apart looking for her. Then he went to war. The city burned quietly. Black venom safe houses disappeared overnight. Demetrius lost men faster than he could replace them. And in the middle of it all, Amor sat in a cold warehouse, her hands tied, her heart pounding, her name used like bait. Demetrius visited her once. "You don't look dangerous," he said, studying her. "But you've brought a storm to my doorstep." She didn't reply. "Do you know what you are?" he asked. "You're leverage. That's all any of us ever are in this world." The exchange was set for dawn. An abandoned bridge. No snipers. No tricks. Everyone lied. The gunfire started before the sun could rise. Aurelio moved through the chaos like something built for it. His men followed him without hesitation. When he reached Amor, the ropes were already being cut by a man who never got the chance to finish. Aurelio grabbed her and pulled her behind him as bullets tore into the concrete. They escaped in a storm of smoke and sirens. But something had changed. Back at the compound, Aurelio didn't let her go. Not to her room. Not to the guards. He took her to his. "You almost got me killed," he said. "You almost let me die," she shot back. Silence fell between them. Dangerous silence. He stepped closer. "You should be afraid of me," he said softly. "I am," she replied. "But I'm more afraid of what you're becoming." That was the moment the line blurred. Not between captor and captive, but between control and connection. Cheetah watched it happen. And hatred finally outweighed loyalty. She made her move 2 nights later. A message. A location. A promise. Demetrius was still alive. And he still wanted Aurelio's weakness. Amor found the note hidden under her pillow. "Run. Or die." She didn't wait. She ran. Not into the city. Into the forest. Gunshots followed her through the trees. Shouts echoed behind her. Her lungs burned. Her legs screamed. And then, silence. Aurelio found her at the riverbank. They stood on opposite sides of the water, both breathing hard, both bleeding in different ways. "You will never be free," he said. "I will never stop trying," she replied. For a moment, he looked like he might let her go. For a moment. Then headlights appeared behind him. Demetrius had come himself. The final confrontation was fast. Brutal. Unforgiving. Cheetah died first. Demetrius didn't die at all. He ran. And Aurelio didn't chase him. He turned back to Amor instead. The city called for him. The clan needed him. Power demanded him. But for the first time, he hesitated. "You can leave," he said. Amor stared at him. At the man who had destroyed her life. At the man who had saved it more than once. At the monster who had become something dangerously close to human. "Or you can stay," he added. Not as a command. As a choice. She walked past him. Each step felt heavier than chains. She didn't look back. The world outside was loud. Bright. Cruel in its own way. But it was hers. Aurelio watched her disappear into the crowd. And for the first time in his life, he let something go. Not territory. Not power. Not control. But the one thing he could never own. Her.